Hi, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to go through this presentation with us. My name is Marcy Fisk, and I am the grade 12 administrator for Memorial this year, and I'm looking forward to working with you and your students. With me, I have Mrs. Porter and Mrs. Nugent, who are our high school counselors here at Memorial. They can help your grade 12 student with course changes and conflicts, any scholarship information that they might be looking for, as well as post-secondary requirements. As their grade 12 administrator, I can also help with these things, but I will be following up with attendance and grades and credits. Any important grad information can be found at our website, www.mchs.psd70.ab.ca. So I'd encourage you to check that regularly. There are some things to remember about graduating in Alberta. You must have 100 credits, which includes English 30 and Social 30 at the -2 or the -1 level. Math 20 or Science 20, that can include bio, chemistry, physics, Math 20 or Math 20-3. It just has to be at the grade 11 level. You also need to have a minimum of 3 credits in phys ed and 3 credits for Com 20. Then you need to have 10 other credits in any other course at the 30 level. That's other than English and Social Studies. Those can come from CTS, Fine Arts or Second Languages, phys ed, any of our AAC courses, the Registered Apprenticeship Program, or work experience. In our Academic Achievement Center, we've changed things up a little bit. It now runs out of our library. This is a self-directed learning environment where students can finish modular-based courses to meet any of those requirements that they may have missed along the way. Sometimes it's just to earn credits in order to meet the minimum of 100 credits. There is attendance requirements. This year with the quarter system, those are long blocks, so many of our grade 12 students are working from home for these modular-based courses, and we're supporting that in our COVIDized world right now. One of the big things that I know people are looking for information around is for diploma exams. Diploma exams will run 4 times a year this year in order to coincide with our quarters, and all exams will be written or available to be written in each exam sitting. English and Social Studies consist of both a Part A and a Part B. The written part will be written before the end of classes, and the multiple choice is written during the exam week or the exam days. Those are fixed days that are put out by the government, and they are on our calendars online as well as in any printed documents that you might have gotten recently. It's important to note that the physics, bio, and science 30 exams are on the Monday and Tuesday of fall break. That will your student needs to be there to write that, or their exam will be put off until the following writing session. But it does need to be written. Grade 12 English, Social Studies, Math at both the -1 and the -2 level, Science, Chemistry, Biology, and Physics all have diploma exams. These exams are worth 30% of a final grade in a course. The other 70% comes from the school average mark, the school awarded mark that they earn. The length can vary, but students must stay for a minimum of at least 1 hour.
Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Porter speaking. In grade 12, students need to get a MyPass account. MyPass is the Alberta education account where students can go to get their diploma marks. So this is the only place that they can get their diploma marks. So extremely important that they do sign up for a MyPass account if they haven't already. So it's mypass.alberta.ca and sign in with an education account. It will ask for an email address, and what we say here is do not use your PSD email address, because as soon as you graduate, that PSD email address will disappear. So please use a personal email address. The other thing they're going to ask you for is your Alberta student number. When you go to Power School, on your telephone on the app, it does not show your ASN number. But if you go to your PowerSchool account on the computer screen, it will have your ASN number right up at the top of the screen. So if you don't know your ASN number, look at the PowerSchool on the computer, not in the app. Once you get to your MyPass account, this is kind of what it looks like. It looks a little bit different on your telephone app, but the information is the same. You'll see your diploma exams, and you'll be able to view any of your diploma exam results there. If you wanted to sign up to rewrite a diploma exam, this is where you'd go. The second bullet is detailed academic report. This is probably the one that I use the most, and I think students find the most useful as well, because in that detailed academic report shows all the courses that a student has taken in high school, and it will have both your course awarded mark, your diploma mark, and then your blended mark to see whether or not you've been successful at that course. There is also the third one there is view credentials. Credentials will take you through all of your Alberta High School diploma credentials and whether you've met them or they're in process, etc. There is a lot of other information here as well. So you can see there that they have order a transcript. So if a student was planning on going to post-secondary outside of the province of Alberta, this is where you would go to order your transcripts. Yeah, so that's kind of the information on MyPass, so extremely important that students do get that. This is the credential page and kind of what it looks like. So it'll show how many credits have been awarded, how many are outstanding, and it'll have a check mark beside things that are completed. And then when something's not completed, there won't be a check mark there. So you'll be able to take a look and see whether or not you're in line to graduate. I also wanted to talk briefly about careers, post-secondary scholarships, and this is a huge discussion point, so I'll try to be brief, but certainly I encourage grade 12 students to come and talk to either myself or Ms. Nugent. These are conversations I really enjoy having, and so would welcome students to come and talk about any of this stuff with us throughout the year. So one of the questions I looked up is, when students are in high school, where do they turn to for career help? Are they looking to parents, friends, experts, counselors, classroom teachers, or a comm teacher? And I think you might be surprised by the results. In fact, high school students will turn to their parents 3/4 of the time to get information about what it is that they want to do after high school. So you may think that your son or daughter is not listening to you or not paying any attention to the information that you're giving them, but in fact they are. So whether that be through them seeing you on a daily basis or conversations you're having over a meal, certainly you do have an influence over what it is that they are taking away about careers and what they want to do after high school. So parents are key, and we are here to also help you. If you knew that your son or daughter was going to listen to you, what are the 1 or 2 messages that you would give them in terms of careers or education? And maybe you want to do some research yourself so as to help your son or daughter make those next steps in their life. One of the websites that we often use, and again, this is one that parents can use and or students can use, is the ALICE website. So it's alice.alberta.ca. And this one is particularly relevant because it is Alberta information. So sometimes you get started searching on careers and you do a Google search on something, and then it'll take you to somewhere in the southern United States, or you're looking up information about South America, and not really relevant to what we're doing here. Whereas this website has all the career information, but then also tells you about Alberta specific. It'll tell you about the job outlook in Alberta, what the possible earning income is in Alberta. If you have to go to a post-secondary institution, where in Alberta can you go for that? So we find this one a really useful website and would encourage others to use it as well. This is just more on that same website and the kind of information that you can get. If a student is considering post-secondary, if they're thinking about going on to college, university, or a technical institution, Alberta does have a lot of options. And I often say that it's important to think beyond the big three. Sometimes students think, okay, I'm in Alberta, I must go to the U of A, MacEwan, or NAIT. Those are what I consider the big three in the Edmonton area. But even if students are wanting to stay in the Edmonton area, there are other institutions to consider. So a Norquest College, Concordia University, the King's University, and then other institutions as well. And sometimes students are looking to go outside of the Edmonton area. And so lots of institutions across Alberta. And then if they're willing to go outside of province, obviously we can talk about the entire of Canada. So it's really important that students and or parents are researching to find out what it is that they want to do and then what it takes to get into those programs. One thing to really pay attention to are the minimum versus the competitive average to get into programs. Some programs will list the minimum average to get in is a 65%. But as soon as it says that it's a competitive program, if it's a competitive program, it means more people apply than what actually get in. So that average automatically rises. And so you just have to watch if it is a competitive program to make sure that you're getting that competitive average. Some programs do have other criteria expected as well, and I've listed some here, but it really does vary by institution and by program. NAIT, particularly any of the technical institutions, will sometimes have additional requirements like career investigations, volunteer hours, etc. Some of the artistic type programs will show that you may require an addition or something additional like that. Applications open on October 1st of every year for the following September. Institutions do like it when students apply early. So they encourage you to apply by October 1st. It depends on the student whether they're ready to go for October 1st or not. But I do encourage students to look at the deadlines for each programs, and those really do vary again by program and by institution. If I can be very general, I would say March, you'll start to see application deadlines coming up for different programs and different institutions. But that does really vary. Some programs, some institutions will accept applications right up until August. So you just really need to know the difference between those. This is the website where students go to apply for any post-secondary institution in Alberta. So this is Apply Alberta, and it's just applyalberta.ab.ca. And so you can apply to more than one institution. The first part, the apply now, you enter your demographic information, all of your high school information. So you enter where you went to high school, what courses you took, what were your final grades in grade 10 and 11. And then students will enter their grade 12 courses and a predicted final grade. So they know that students haven't completed courses yet. Those courses are in progress. And so they will enter their courses, enter a predicted final grade, and then update it as the year goes on. Some of this I've already talked about. Each institution does have a different application fee. So those application fees will vary by institution. And all of the programs or all of the institutions will allow students to choose 2 programs of choice. So they'll have a first choice, which is their preferred choice. And then if they are not accepted into that first choice, they can have a second choice. And they're only ever considered for their second choice if they are not eligible for their first choice. If students are undecided, which there are lots that are in that situation, I just encourage students to start doing some investigations or some research into what it is that they want to do. Open houses and program information sessions are great places to get information. Typically, we've had a post-secondary fair at the Tri-Leisure Centre, and of course, because of COVID, that's going to look a little bit different this year. It will be a virtual event. We do have a date booked on October 29th. It's from 6 to 8 in the evening, and students will be provided a link in order to get into that post-secondary fair. We don't have that link yet, but I'll be sharing that once we do receive it. I put up the virtual open house dates for the 3 big institutions in Edmonton. So if students are interested in going to NAIT, there'll be an open house on October 16th and 17th. If they're interested in going to the U of A, the virtual open house will be on October 15th, 16th, and 17th. And MacEwan University's virtual open house follows on November 7th. Most of the open house virtual events are kind of between the end of September and the beginning of November. So that's their busy season in terms of open house. So if you're interested in another institution, I've found all of this information on those schools' website. So I would just encourage you to look at the school website that you're interested in going to and finding out when their open house is going to be, and find more information there. Another question we get lots of is about scholarships, and it is valuable to look at scholarships because any money that you can get to pay for your post-secondary institution is obviously going to help. The Rutherford Scholarship you would apply for once you are completed your grade 12 courses. So you apply for that typically when you get your course results back, your diploma exam results back at the end of July, beginning of August. So that's when you apply for the Rutherford Scholarship. I also encourage students to look at the institutions in which they're planning to attend and see if they have any entrance scholarships. Some scholarships you're considered for automatically. Some scholarships you have to do a separate application for. So just make sure you know the difference between those. Memorial Comp has lots of graduation awards as well. Those will come out in the springtime. Some of them, again, require a separate application. Some you have to write an essay for, so make sure to look into those in the spring. There are search engines that you can go to look for scholarships, and actually the next slide lists some of those search engines. And then others. There's lots and lots of places that you can find scholarships, but it is a process that you have to look for them, and then you have to apply. The scholarships are not going to come find you. You have to go find those scholarships. So I just encourage you to start your investigation early and keep searching throughout the year. Here are those scholarship engines that I suggested. So 3 that we use are scholarshipscanada.com, iconic.com, and scholartree.ca. So you go in, you enter your information, like where you're coming from, what courses you took, where do you want to go, what do you want to study, and then they will match up the scholarships that you are eligible for to your information. And then you just have to go through and figure out, like, is this something that I want to take the time to apply for, or is this something I'm going to take a pass on? I often say to students, hey, it may take you 2 or 3 hours to apply for a scholarship, but if that means $500, that's a pretty well spent time for 2 or 3 hours. If you compare that to working minimum wage at somewhere at $15 an hour, it would take a lot of hours to make $500. So I encourage you to apply for as many as you can. On our school website, I also share the scholarships that I can find for students. So on the school website, if you go under the tab for students, and there is a tab there, scholarships and awards. So here I list any scholarships that we have found. I put them in by month so that students know when the deadlines are. So for the September-October scholarships, they're typically due in October-November. And so you can kind of just keep searching through these and pick out the 1 or 2 scholarships that you think you're eligible for, and then take the time to do a really good application for those.
Thank you, Mrs. Porter. Lots of great information, and I'm sure it'll help a lot of different kids. We're coming to a close here, so just wanted to touch base about what makes a successful grade 12 year beyond the marks and credit count. With all of the unknown and uncertainty around this year, we know that it's going to make a difference for students to make a commitment to their courses and to complete the assigned work. This is especially true in a quarter system. The pace is so much faster with the longer courses or longer classes, but the benefit of that is that we're only doing 2 courses at a time, and they will be done by mid-November, and we'll be moving on to quarter 2 at that point. So attendance is really, really crucial. You need to be responsible for any missed time and recognize that each class is worth about 2.5% of the course. Any vacations that are planned, although we know that those aren't as frequent as they might have been in previous years, please try to work with the school calendar. Extended absences greatly reduce the access to instruction and will cause some issues for kids. Communicate, work with your teachers, ask for help, stay on track. We are here for you, and we're going to figure this out and do the best that we can. I know you're all excited to hear about the graduation ceremony, and so that is currently booked for Wednesday, June 30th at 4:30 p.m. at the Edmonton Convention Centre. That will, of course, be dependent on the Alberta Health Services guidelines at that time. We will be having a virtual grad assembly in October to share more information with students, more specifically, and we'll be talking about what needs to happen in order to be eligible for graduation at that point, and being in line to graduate based on credits and passing your courses. So again, I would encourage you to check the website regularly for any updates. One of the things that we also have for our Indigenous graduates here is a Indigenous cultural graduation celebration, and that will also be planned for mid-June, pending or dependent on all of the Alberta Health Services regulations. So that's it. We will wrap up, and feel free to email any one of us if you have any questions about where your student is at in terms of graduation. Kids have been really great about asking those questions, and we've had lots of conversations already with many of you. We are going to continue to support your kids, and we look forward to working with you and making sure that this is a memorable year where they can be successful in attaining their dreams and their goals. So thank you. Have a great rest of your day.